and welcome to a tutorial about making a welt for the all work gnome play pattern from Imagine Landscapes Designs. So what we've done is we've worked 2 garter ridges here, and then we've transitioned to stockinette. And what we're now going to do is we're going to fasten this layer of this round of stockinette down to this round of stockinette. And by forcing them together, we're going to pop out this section of stockinette fabric, and it's going to create what looks like a bit of I-cord or a pipe, like if you've seen on upholstery, that sort of row of piping. That's what we're going to be creating. And to do that, we need to knit together the first stitch of that. So we're going to be knitting together the first stitch of this stockinette to its companion here. But of course, we want to force the fabric forwards, so we have to pick up from the back. And so what I like to do is pick up all the stitches in one go for the one needle, or a whole section and then a section, rather than doing it one at a time. So this is where my needle is. So this will be my working section first. And if you look, the transition from where we were working garter stitch here to stockinette on this side, obviously, but here it's showing up as reverse stockinette. And in that transition, when I pull my knitting apart, you can see right here sort of an indent, a double thing, where here we've got the last bit of the garter ridge, and then here we've got another. So when I pull it apart, it creates that space, and that's how I know where I'm going to pick up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up, I like to pick up from this side over. When we work it, we're going to work it from this side over, but when we're picking up, it doesn't matter which direction we pick it up from. Now, you could either pick up this part or this part. So there's kind of like the smiles and there's the caps, and I'm going to pick up the smiles. So I'm going to grab just that little smiley section along each stitch here. And at the end, you just want to make sure you've gone all the way to the last one. So if I go all the way down here, it looks like they're lining up. And that if I were to grab this next one, it would go with this over here. So if you get those offline, what can happen is things just sort of start to twist a little bit. It's not the end of the world with something this small, and because no one is going to be wearing it, but that's just something to be aware of, that you may want to go and just double check that when you follow all the way down, that looks like it's something you've got there. We line these up parallel. It's pretty hard not to, given that the rows are parallel. We've got our working yarn, and I'm going to put my needle through the front, the section that sort of we can see from the front. Then I'm going to put my needle through the needle we can see from the back. Loop my yarn around as though I was making a stitch, and I'm just going to go through both of those stitches, pull them both off like that. It's a bit like a 3-needle bind off, except we don't do the bind off part. So it's just knitting 2 together across 2 needles. And we go across and across. So now you can see that compared to this section, which is tall and flat, this section is protruding out in a nice rounded way. So we've got our 2 garter ridges, and then we've got this nice little welted area popping out like that. I hope this helps. Happy knitting and happy gnoming.